he is a New York personal injury attorney. I don't think I've ever had one. Have I ever had one?
You probably have over the years.
Oh, when I got hit by the car in Manhattan, yes. Senior trial partner at Dershowitz, Lebo, and Korek, and past president of New York State trial lawyers. That is a very incredible position to be on trial. Having, as an investigative reporter, having covered different trials and recently a murder trial, I have a kind of a soft heart for these lawyers trying to defend people in these crimes. I mean, this one, we knew the guy was the murderer, except he got acquitted because the jury did pay attention. I need bull on this case. That's what I need. But anyway, Jeff is a past president of New York State Trial Lawyers Association, as I said, currently serving as senior trial partner and nearly 40 years of experience. So it's going to be interesting because he's done it across the board to do with cruise ships, aviation, medical malpractice.
Accidents happen everywhere.
Everywhere.
It wasn't my fault. I wasn't even there.
Yeah. That's what you said when she was pregnant, right?
That wasn't me.
Anyway, let's bring him on. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
We love having you
So,
here.
Jeff, is it true that in your business, you don't get paid unless you get a settlement, or how does that actually work?
It's called a
Exactly.
contingency.
We don't get paid unless we get a settlement, and that allows about probably 80% of the clientele to have an attorney as opposed to nobody being able to afford an attorney and letting all these, mishaps and accidents, even if they are the fault of someone else, go by the wayside simply because they can't afford it.
Yeah, it makes sense. And, besides that, obviously you're going to go for the most that you can, but it gives those people that can't do that the opportunity to be able to hire a lawyer to do something in a personal injury thing. And also it determines if you're taking the case, you wouldn't take a case that you knew you could not win or did not fit within a certain parameter. So there's a good possibility that, something monetarily will come out of whoever you're representing, I would assume.
Yeah, the system works because you're exactly right. We have to be really careful about the cases we take because we live with them for a few years, put a lot of money into them, and live with the clients. And if you're promising sunshine that never comes, it's a good way to close down your practice pretty quickly.
So I had this case that I had. I was crossing the street on 57th and Park in Manhattan, and the car kind of jumped the light. I don't remember, what happened. Ended up in the hospital. But there was some really, I have some injuries that have lasted forever. The problem was I had an attorney that somebody had suggested to me in Manhattan, because I was living in the city then, and he was with a very big law firm, and it was a case against NBC. Long story short, I was producing events in Manhattan, and they were one of our clients for an event we were producing for them.
So what NBC, they weren't on the street?
No, but they were the ones who hired the.
Right.
No, I'm sorry. Wrong thing. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about something else. No, so anyway, sorry. I'm thinking about something that happened when I was producing events. But anyway, what happened is the lawyer that was representing me decided to go on his own, and he convinced me that I should go with him and not stay with the law firm. That was the worst mistake I ever made.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so
listen,
people
like everything else,
Yeah.
there's good and there's bad.
Yeah, but people need to really not, they get you at a vulnerable point, and I think that's my point right now. If you're at that vulnerable point, take a breath and step back and wait a minute before you make a decision.
All right, so, Jeff, what is like the biggest type of injuries that you usually represent? Is there a certain type of incident that seems to happen over and over again?
Well, we run the gamut. We represent the people that were killed in that terrible helicopter crash off the Hudson River. We represent the young woman who was killed at the Park Avenue building, where the gunman had come cross country and shot up the people at the NFL floor.
Oh yeah.
So unfortunately, we have some really terrible situations. On the repeat stuff, we see it more on the construction site accidents, which I've been on the show before, and we've talked about laborers who are being forced to climb heights without the proper safety equipment and getting hurt. Motor vehicle accidents, of course. And I think what brings me on today is these micro-mobility-related trauma. I heard you mention something about the NYU study that came out last month.
Right.
And that's, there's a 35-fold since, I think, 2010 on accidents involving these e-bikes. And so the prevalence of these, what they call micromobility accidents is really astonishing. I've never seen anything.
And why are they still
growing
on the
as quickly as
streets?
this.
Yeah, why are they still on the streets? We've had 2 fires up here because of them, which
Well,
you
yeah,
can't put out with water.
But how does that become a suable item? What, does something go wrong with the e-bikes, or it's usually operator error, isn't it?
It's not always operator error. It's not the e-bike's fault. It's the people driving them. You're right. So yeah, people driving them are causing accidents or being hit by cars because they're so exposed. There's no roof. There's no doors. Right. So I mean, you're just putting yourself out there. A lot of people driving them without helmets. A lot of people driving them without using alcohol and God knows whatever else.
And here's the other thing.
You
Also,
get a lot of accidents.
Yeah, Jeff. Also, if you look at regular the guys, the couriers, they go in and out of traffic. It's amazing they're not all dead. So when they have e-bikes, they're doing that as well.
Yeah. So who sues who if you got somebody inebriated on on one of these e-bikes, and who's suing what? Or
well, like before, we were talking about being selective about taking the right case. I mean, that's a case probably no lawyer is going to take. If you're inebriated on an e-bike, you're out of luck.
You're done.
right.
Yeah.
But if somebody hits you because you're traveling on the street, because there is legal places to use the e-bike, if you're in the right
but they
spot
don't.
and somebody causes you to have bodily injury, that's the kind of case you would take.
Yeah, exactly.
And like I said, there's
I
more
mean,
injury on an e-bike because you have you're not really wearing. Most people just get on them with suits on or whatever. You're not wearing helmets and knee pads, and there's no protection around you at all. You're basically, it's even smaller than a bicycle when you think about it.
Are they going to, I'm thinking with Elon Musk now being the first trillionaire and everything that he's brought to fruition, why doesn't he invent an e-bike that drives itself, like an autonomous e-bike? He's done it with cars.
Yeah, well, price.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That's
One of the things I wanted to point out is that, they call it micro-mobility, all these e-bikes and scooters, but these things fly pretty fast. And somebody said it was a polite word for two-wheel mayhem, micro-mobility, two-wheel mayhem. Like bumblebees, these unregulated, non-disciplined vehicles are driven without a license, without a permit, without lights, horns, or any other safety equipment. Helmets are rarely used, and operators feel a sense of invulnerability as they weave between lanes, cars, and sidewalks. So, I mean, we have no real way to even regulate them. You don't have cops chasing scooters. You got people driving well over 20 miles an hour. I mean, in New York City, there's no reason anybody should be driving anything that exposed more than 20 miles an hour. We, as you know, had these terrible 2 e-bike accidents on the George Washington Bridge. Both riders died.
I just saw that in the paper. They should not allow them. Just like they shouldn't allow people to walk on that.
See, this is the problem with government. They come up with a million different rules and regulations, but they allow things like this to sort of slip in, and then it becomes out of control.
That's preventive medicine. Do not allow e-bikes on
Jeff,
bridges.
I'm sure, the government will probably be stepping in with rules and regulations down the road.
But they're never the right ones.
Yeah, by then it's like, look at all the injuries and look at all the the deaths that have
called
occurred.
Put the stop sign up before somebody gets killed at the corner. But they don't look. They don't look forward, and that's the problem. I see these people even walking on these bridges. I'm thinking, you're out of your mind. What if there's distracted driving and the guy swerves and you're dead? What's the point?
Also, there's a lot of twists and turns on the George Washington Bridge, which people don't realize. It's not a straight shot.
Not at all.
And you end up turning a corner and hitting somebody, which is probably what happened in that case.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, I've been on that GW Bridge so many times, I wish I had the money that I took.
Well, it's unfortunate for drivers of cars because a lot of times, these people on these e-bikes, they're not wearing something colorful that you see them.
And they're not obeying the law.
There's no lights. They're all over the place. And then somebody hits an e-bike guy.
Yeah, but you have another thing now, Frank.
Then you got a problem.
You have people with cameras everywhere. So people can say things, but if somebody's videotaping it, which they do all the time now, you're, SOL.
So,
baby.
Jeff, how much of today's legal actions are done with the use of provided videos?
We're getting more and more. I mean, the police have an incredible setup of cameras pretty much everywhere, which is really interesting. So if the police get involved, if it's a fatality, for example, it's easier to get the footage. Otherwise, we send out investigators to go to local retail stores, people's homes that have Ring and other types of, cameras, and we try to collect what we can. So, 10, 15 years ago, we had none of it. Now it's unusual not to have any video, but, there are places where they're still without them.
Yes.
But video makes all the difference. I mean, you don't have to argue about what happened.
Yeah,
You can
good
just
luck
look
with
at
that. Yeah, there's somebody just texted in here. There are laws about e-bikes in New York, speed, volts, and different classifications. So, yeah, I don't know if these people riding them, it's sort of like the people that go out with their boats on the water. They don't realize there are rules. They think because they're not in a car, it doesn't apply to them.
The other thing is they got to get these e-bikes out of the bike lanes in the city. I mean,
Yeah, 100%.
You already know, you cross the city street now, you're not only looking for cars, but you're looking for e-bikes going both ways. So you've got to turn left, right, you got to have your head on a swivel, and you got to really be able to appreciate that it could be coming from anywhere. And what they're doing in bike lanes, that's something that's got to be remedied right away, and it hasn't as of yet.
So what, you go to trial on something like this. With my ignorance on this, is there a jury, or is it who decides the amount of compensation that would be handed out? Is it the judge, or is it a jury?
Imagine if it's a jury trial. Yeah,
Jury.
it goes.
There's always
somebody asks for, which is unusual, a judge-only trial. You get a jury.
Oh, okay.
And the beauty of a jury is, just like me, you, and we sit on the panel and we make a decision about what happened. We're not looking to help or hurt anyone.
Right.
Just looking to call it the way it is, which is what most people do. Jury system works.
I wish most people were on that murder trial I was at, because most of them were sleeping.
Yeah, well,
I watch people. I'm not. I can always look at the transcripts, but I was watching the jury in both trials for the same murder case, and I would say the majority of them were closing their eyes to it. I'm thinking, people, this is a 23-year-old murder case. This family finally got the guy who did it, who they knew did it, and they're sitting there half sleeping through the whole thing.
Yeah, but see, that's a completely different scenario, because you're talking about a trial that lasts weeks. How long is a typical case when you guys get to court with a personal injury incident?
Well, it all depends. I mean, the complexity of the case dictates how long it goes. Some of them I've been on, could be a month or 2 months, and others, inside of a couple of weeks. So, yeah, I mean, sleeping on a jury has become, or I shouldn't say has become, it's probably an age-old problem. Judges have ways of dealing with it. They'll take more breaks. They'll bang a book on the table. They'll remind jurors to get a good night's sleep. You have to weed out, jurors who are trying to do too many things at once, like work at nights and then come into jury's duty the next day and try to sit on a case and stay awake. It's an age-old problem. But, yeah, look, there's always the unfortunate outcome, and there's always, the wrong outcome. But most times, I would say, jurors get it right.
So when we go to court, supposing somebody's on an e-bike and somebody jumps a red light and hits somebody or whatever, and they get seriously injured, how many times would a person like that typically have to go to court? I mean, you would think that would almost be a cut and dry thing where they would show up, they'd show a video, that if it's on video, this is what happened, here where we go. How many times could somebody legitimately have to show back up in the courtroom to fight this?
Yeah, it's a great question. Most cases we tell our clients settle. So 90% of them settle, but you need a law firm that's going to prepare, and we do every case as if it's going to trial, because you just don't know you don't know whether you fall into that 90% or not.
Sure. Yeah. When you settle, are you obviously dealing with the other client's insurance or legal firm? Are you telling them I have video, or how much are you telling them that?
Yeah, how much you have to disclose to the
how
other
much you
side?
disclose, and this is what we want,
Almost everything, because the way the law works in New York and most states is discovery and, full disclosure. You let the other side know what you have, and, everybody evaluates their positions and tries to do typically what's right. I mean, the jury is the greatest neutralizer. If you don't do what's right and pay what you should, you'll have 6 people, which is what sits on a civil case, make a decision, and you'll end up getting hurt. So better to, better to cap your exposure.
Yeah, somebody just wrote in, what percentage of cases go to trial versus pretrial settlement? You just said 90%.
That's
about
good.
90%.
Yeah. Wow. So now when you go to trial and they get a result, you're going to owe X amount of money. And people can actually appeal that, though, right? How often does that happen?
Yes. It happens, I don't have a percentage on it, but it happens often. And even in the appeal process, there can be a settlement reached. So that's always, a good safety valve also. So if you lose and you don't want to pay maybe as much as what the jury said you have to pay, you call up the other side and you try to make an arrangement. And that's how a lot of settlements get done also.
Look at the Murdoch case. I mean, that is mind-boggling to me. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, that had, that was just so fact sensitive. And
I know. I just am.
It's kind of like, without making it too controversial, the OJ case, everybody kind of knew that he did it. But some people were very upset with the way the police handled it. And so a lot of people felt that the verdict reflected, improper procedure.
Yeah, this proves a point that you better get your facts together and make sure there are no hiccups in there, or you could take a case where we know what should have been, and here's what happens: be one mistake.
That's right.
That's amazing. So, Jeff, what was the best television show with lawyers or legal?
I know mine.
Taylor liked, and I agree with her. I liked Bull.
I love that show.
That show was really good. Michael Weatherly was great with that.
Did you ever watch that, Jeff?
I watched a couple of them just to see what the jury consultant is. It's just so far. It's so.
I know.
What's the right word? Removed from reality.
I know, but it was. That's why I
profession.
loved it, because it was removed from reality.
Right. I think Law and Order. I mean, other than everything got done in a half hour.
Yeah, I can't watch that. It was too real.
good.
I can't watch it. It was too real.
Yeah, it was
I don't
too
want to
real.
see anything that real on television.
That's kind of
why I
amazing.
like
That's right.
Bull.
That is something.
Oh, look who's here, Tony Cardone.
Good morning. Good morning.
How you doing? This is Tony Bag of Donuts talking
How you
about
doing,
donuts.
Jeff?
I'm doing well. Oh, if only you could transmit donuts through the phone. I would.
Sorry, I can't help you out.
So, Jeff, once you hire a lawyer as yourself or your firm, is there a certain percentage that you guys take of the actual settlement? Is that always the same amount of percentage, or how does that actually work with your clients?
Well, we do medical malpractice work, and that's one fee that's kind of subject to a schedule. And the other, most other cases are typically about a third is what the attorney keeps. 2/3 go to the client and the family. But, every case is different, and there's some expenses that get taken off the top and those kind of things. But listen, good law firms will never let the client come upside down, and good law firms make sure the client is getting the bulk of the money as it should be. And the risk that the lawyers take in terms of putting up their own money and their own time, we're one of the few lawyers that you don't get a bill for 6 minutes of talking on the phone or opening an envelope or whatever else there's hourly lawyers charge for. We don't keep any hours. Everything is on contingency. You call the law firm as many times as you want. Talk to whomever you want. Nobody bills you for it.
So if you're dealing with a personal injury lawyer, can you negotiate the fee? Is that possible?
You could talk, but I'm not a big advocate of that, because what you want to do is incentivize your lawyer to do the best job he can for you.
Yeah, you can have zero or you can have a percentage of something and make up your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
I have something for you.
It's like Shark Tank, you don't want to cut the fee, because you want them involved.
I have something. I spoke to a girlfriend of mine in Florida last night, and she's had 2 operations on her back. And this one is now, when she told me about the physician, and she doesn't want to sue, and I'm like, you better sue, because it's not about the money right now. It's about the fact she could do this to somebody else. She accidentally kind of cracked one of her vertebrae. So she is in pain constantly. And she's saying, all the credits to this doctor. I'm like, are you out of your mind? You're in pain 24/7, and you don't think suing her was going to be a wake-up call? You think it's okay? I said to you, I'm mad at you, not because of anything else, but you're going to allow other people to go through the same thing.
Right. Well, plus it's also an added expense now. She may have to go for additional work or medications. Who knows? And that all adds up.
She almost doesn't care anymore. She's been in pain so long that this was supposed to be the final, and I begged her to get help. Now you can't do anything for somebody in Florida, right?
Other than refer to a Florida attorney, that's about the most I would do with that.
I would love to be able to talk her into that.
Well, listen, she's in a lot of pain now, but you'll be down there in a couple of months, then she'll really be in a lot of pain. That pain will go away.
Now, we know each other since college. We go way back.
All right, sounds good. Tony, what's on your mind?
No, I have a question for Jeff. So you were talking about medical malpractices and accidents. So there's some sort of standard for particular types of injuries, like if you have a back injury where there's a value associated with it?
No.
No.
The short answer is each side makes their case to the jury, and the jury decides what the case is worth. And that's a good thing because no two cases are exactly alike, and everybody's situation is a little different than the next person.
Okay.
And so the jury gets to hear the whole thing and make their own decision.
Do they have any idea what the average amount is for an injury like has happened?
No, they don't get a sheet that tells them in other cases this is what happened. The judge gives them general instructions about awarding money for past pain and suffering, typically, future pain and suffering, money for out of work, if that's what the case was, and money for future medical bills.
Yeah, it's
How
not,
did you
So
think
they
it is?
it's not
the
one.
categories always make sense.
It's not one size fits all.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
That's right.
Have you had any instances where the plaintiff ended up getting a large sum of money and then the judge stripped part or all of it?
Not if it's
I've
by
had
jury.
situations where they appeal it,
Okay.
and
And that
at
would be
first they make a motion to the judge to reduce the number,
Okay.
and the judge can do that. And then it goes to the appellate division, which is our intermediary court, and they get a chance to knock it down too. And then we have the highest court, which is the Court of Appeals in New York, and they get a chance to knock it down or leave it alone.
Boy,
so
if anybody
Interesting.
there's a
complains,
lot of checks in place. You know, that's why when people talk about, crazy verdicts, there are a few of them, and when there are, we've got, at least two situations in place to knock them down to what they should be.
we have the most incredible system in this country that people don't appreciate to protect everybody, and they just don't appreciate it. All they do is go out and do these idiotic, no kings. I wanted to do a parade called No Queens.
Well, I'm glad
I'm
you
just
didn't,
kind of
Taylor.
over all this garbage.
So, Tony-
but we do have an incredible system.
Tony, you were a supervisor. He controlled the government in a
The town of
town
Monroe.
up in Orange County. Did you ever have people that were using personal injury lawyers to sue the town, or did you guys?
Yes, and Jeff, this is a big thorn in my side when I was supervisor. So what happened was, so we have the town of Monroe, and I'm sure you've heard of the town of Palm Tree or village of KJ, which is
KJ,
Hasidic.
you know what that is up
You're
here?
Australia.
So they succeeded from us, but from the time I got in, I tried to get them to create their own zip code, and they never did. So what was happening is there was multiple lawsuits during, I'm going to say, the year. I probably had anywhere from 8 to 10 on average, and they would hire attorneys from New York City, and every entity that was a municipality within the town of Monroe, with the village of Monroe, village of Harriman, and town of Palm Tree, because they had the same zip codes, would get sued.
That's unbelievable.
And
Oh, interesting.
and our attorney would always put a file to have it removed, and we it would always happen, but it's a frustrating part of what you have to deal with, because now we have fees from
Can't you
our
put-
attorney, which are minimal compared to everything else, just to get out of a case that we shouldn't have been in.
Can't the government do something to force them to get their own zip code, since they wanted to secede from the
Government
union? so
can't
that-
do anything; they have to do it. And I was told by their leader
I know why
that,
they're
that
not
they
doing
would.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they just turned over a legislature. It's
Yeah.
called
Well,
buying people.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Well, listen, Jeff, if people want to reach out to you, how would they do that?
The phone number for the law firm is 212-385-4410. There's also a website, lawyertime.com. Lawyertime, like a clock,
Very
one
smart.
word, .com.
Because putting all
Yeah.
those names there wouldn't work.
No.
Yeah.
And Jeff, which area would you do you work in?
We
Is it-
cover the entire state and New Jersey. New York
Oh, and New Jersey.
Good,
Okay,
because we broadcast
that's
all
our
of New
entire
Jersey.
audience. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Great.
it's kind of
Well,
funny
always-
if you ever see signs up on or billboards up. I don't know how many going to Pennsylvania last weekend. How many personal injury signs I saw
it's
up there,
terrible.
and it's always
terrible.
like right. It's like got an
Do
injury.
people actually call from a billboard?
I
don't know.
They all
That
have
would
catchy
be
names.
absurd.
They all have catchy
Can we
names
do
and catchy
can we do a
slogans.
stupid test then? Because really, you got to be an idiot to do that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is
Yeah, why
wild.
don't you get your doctors off of those signs too? My God, that's insane.
Pretty wild stuff. All right, so Jeff,
Jeff,
very
thanks so
informative.
much.
We
We love
like
having
it.
you on the
yeah,
air.
it's great stuff.
Always a pleasure.
Always.
Save some donuts for me for next time.
All right.
We will.
Bye-bye.
We'll eat them.
Be well.
Yeah.
Take care,
Bye-bye.
Jeff. Bye bye.
All right, there you go.
Jeff Korek.